Good evening, folks. For the very, very last time, welcome to the season finale episode of the OZCRO Soccer Show. It's my pleasure to be with you here tonight. My name is Tonchi Prusats. I'm one half of the co-hosting duo tonight, and it is another warm welcome. In fact, a scorching welcome to Ante from a rather hot Harbour City tonight. How are you going, Ante?
Yeah, very well, Torchy. What am I going to do on my Tuesday nights? Anyone have any suggestions for some Netflix shows or something that I have to watch or, something like that? I don't know. What am I going to do?
Pop it in the chat section, guys, if you've got any suggestions for Ante, what he can do on a Tuesday night when the OZCRO Soccer Show finishes up in a little over an hour's time tonight. But it's going to be a ripper of an episode tonight, mate. We have got an all-star cast coming on the show tonight. Tell us a bit more, Ante. Who's coming on?
We've got winners. We've got Josh Popescu, the Newcastle Croatia coach, of course, celebrating promotion, celebrating winning the premiership, celebrating winning the grand final on the weekend. So he's got a lot to tell us. We also have got Dean Uglinic from Canberra, Croatia. And, of course, Dean also, I don't know if you guys watched the grand final. I did watch the closing stages of the grand final, probably the last 45 minutes or so. It was an epic battle, 4-3 victory for Canberra as well. So, yeah, it was fantastic. So, hopefully we'll learn a lot more about that particular match as well. And, of course, this weekend, everyone's heading to Melbourne. And we've got Jure Dragovic, the president of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia. All the last-minute preparations must be ready. The Facebook site is up, all the social media, and it's good. People can see the actual schedules and which ground they're playing at, and it's so exciting.
It is. It's all happening. I think at the moment, too much is happening because there is so much going on.
As well of Australia, that's the other thing. From one city Croatian legend
as well, yes,
to another. One City Croatian legend to another. Arnie handing over the baton to Papa. They used to play together at City.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more of that, plus more in our news desk coming up straight after this break, after this commercial break. But this will give me an opportunity to just sincerely thank Adrian Paulic, who is the president of the Gold Coast Knights, but he's also the director of Gem Life and Living Gems up on the Gold Coast. They were our major sponsor this year. A heartfelt thank you to Adrian and the team there at Gem Life and Living Gems. Without them, we surely could not have seen out Season 3 of the OZCRO Soccer Show. Also, a massive thank you to every single one of our advertisers, sponsors. A huge thank you, and it's going to go in the down here very, very shortly. There you go. To all of our business advertising sponsors this year. There was quite a few. Hopefully, we're going to mention them all. Pleme Apnik Kraljevic, Corsa Hair down in Melbourne, Ned Tardle, Eco Duck from Geelong, Stipe Kump, Tom and Marinko Paushak, OZCRO Imports, of course, Juro Frček. How can we help them? How can we forget them? And thank you sincerely to each and every one of these Croatian-owned businesses. If you'd like to be a business advertising sponsor for next year, we want to make it Season 4, get in touch with us. There's an email down the bottom, ozcrosoccershow@gmail.com, or feel free to drop us a private message in via our Facebook page. We're going to take a quick break, Ante, and then it's over to you for the Australian Croatian scene in the news desk.
I've got nothing.
Nothing.
Who's to say who's young, who's old? Compared to who? Age is complicated. You see, most people really stop getting older at age 26. but their bodies just don't get the memo. So, hidden inside most over 50-ish-year-olds is the soul and spirit of a 26-year-old with the same loves and desires and hopes and dreams, just in slightly different packaging. Why waste time wondering when you could be enjoying? It's your life, and life is what you make it. So, what are you waiting for?
Ante, over to you, mate.
Thanks to our sponsors, but thanks to our regular viewers as well. Petar Finca, yes, see you at the pub. Let's go see you at the Concord or King Tom. We'll catch up, Petar. And Shavad as well, of course, a fabulous supporter, and everyone else who's in every single week, and everyone who puts comments in. Thank you so much. And yes, let us know what you think about the appointment of Tony Popovich. Is it a good appointment? Is everybody convinced it's going to improve the Socceroos? Yeah, obviously he's got a great record in Australia, fantastic record in terms of getting the teams to the grand finals. He's got a great record, obviously, in terms of the only club that he led to the Asian Champions League. But, yeah, it's interesting. Will he be able to step up to Socceroos? I think he can. He's got that sort of demeanour and respect that he's, generated over the past few years. And obviously he's worn the green and gold as well. But, yeah, fantastic appointment and good luck to him. Hopefully he will do Australia and Croatia very proud.
2 points of discussion I want to bring up. Number one, will Anthony Karlik finally get a call up? Well, will he be the next Australian Croatian Socceroo? He's playing at he's playing at a good club, a great club. Maybe not one of the top 5 leagues in Europe, but could you consider the Scottish League one of the highest leagues? I'm not sure. But my point is, will someone like he get a call up? Number two, you're as good as the cattle you've got, I think. Is the Socceroos squad, the wider Socceroos squad at the moment, consisting of quality players or players of enough quality to do well both in the Asian Confederation and then stepping up to World Cup level? That's my question. I'd love to hear what people think. Honestly, would love to hear what people think. I think him as a coach, great, and I think it is a good appointment. I think he'll get the most. And I was listening to some of his thoughts, was it at the press conference or some of the thoughts where he's going on about a winning mentality. And one of the reporters, typical stupid reporter, I don't even think he's a soccer reporter, said something along the lines of, would you be happy with a 1-0 ugly win or something like that, like an ugly result? Stupid idiot. What are you talking about? Of course, at international level, a win's a win. It doesn't matter. It's all about results.
Yeah, however, don't forget Andrew's run out of the Socceroos job as well, even though getting results, for the style of play, etc. And now he's proven himself at club level as well. I think the national team is, a very, very, obviously the eyes of the nation are on there. You've got a lot of, people ready to criticize, and it's an interesting position. And other coaches have left that position, like we said. Ange is a great example. He got run out of basically the youth level not once and senior team once, and he's proven himself. So I mean, you've only got these players for 3-4 days. That's the other thing. It's not like club football where he's had them for the season, pre-season, etc. So that's the other thing. That's a different challenge as well.
Yeah, we'll mention some of the results, the grand final results. We'll go into more detail, but in the nation's capital, it was Canberra, Croatia. What a win. And it wasn't just the seniors, it was also in the under-23s as well, aren't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't seen it, I mean, there was a 94th minute equaliser by Canberra, Croatia to make it 3-3. And then the goalkeeper had to save a penalty during extra time, and then Canberra got the result. And then again, there was a clearance off the line. It was full of drama, but a great game in the first grade, and well done for the under-23s as well. And of course, Newcastle won both grades as well.
Yeah, exactly. Josh Popescu very, very shortly in the next 10 or so minutes. But how good of a result that was. 2-1 in the first grade, and then 1-1 in after extra time, and then it came down to penalties, 7-6 for Croatia over the, what are they called? The Crudis Bay? I don't know how you pronounce that.
Looks like a crab. Looks like a pink crab in the actual logo.
Your pink crab. Anyway, alrighty, and what else? Oh, down at Melbourne Knights, our good friend Josip Lončarić has been chosen or appointed as the director of football. I think this is a great appointment.
Great appointment.
Josip was up until Monday when it was announced. Oopsie daisy, wrong
graphic,
wrong slide. Up until Monday, he was the coach at Brunswick Juventus in the NPLW competition, and he's also going to be one of the commentators this Sunday at the Dinamo for the Australian-Croatian soccer tournament. So stay tuned to tomorrow night's Dinamo TV to find out all about that, folks. But Josip Lončarić is one of a star-studded array of commentators that are going to be bringing you all the action on Sunday. But what do you think of that, Ante? Certainly his footballing pedigree and knowledge and experience, both as a coach and now as an administrator, are second to none.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrific appointment. Obviously, the Knights already appointing the coach earlier as well. So, they're getting serious about preparations for next season, which is really good to see. And, they should be the premier. I don't know. It's debatable, right? They should be, amongst the top 6 every single year up there in Victoria. Obviously, they had a good season, not this season, but last season in 2023, and made the semi-finals of the Australia Cup. So, we want all the Croatian clubs to be doing very, very well.
Yeah, now I'm going to backtrack a little bit, and I'm going to bring up a comment there by Petar Finka, who said, he makes a really interesting point. Tonchi, don't forget Noah Skorko getting a chance. Now, that's an interesting point, because Popovic, supposedly, the rumour mill, the media speculation was that he was very close to signing as Hajduk's coach. There was a lot of speculation there. Now, no doubt he's certainly aware of Karlik. No doubt he's certainly aware of Noah Skorko. Now, Noah Skorko has been selected at Croatian under-19 level. At the moment, he's not getting much of a go. But obviously, he's not tied to Croatia until he plays senior football, which is what we saw with Niko Sigurd just recently, where he opted to go for Canada as opposed to Croatia. So, yeah, interesting. Watch that space, that's for sure. All right, so we've got, what else is making local news? I guess that's it, is it? There's nothing else making local news apart from that?
And you're also saying Anita Furjanic, life member at Glenorchy as well.
Yes, congratulations to Anita. So that was announced at last weekend's Glenorchy Knights presentation night as well. And I guess the last part of the Australian Croatian news is the tournament app. Yes, download the Tourney app. You can get that now on the CSA Australia Savers, it's called, and you can get it on Apple Shop or whatever it's called, iTunes Shop. You can get it on Google as well. So download that. That will have all the fixtures. If it hasn't already been uploaded, it certainly will in the next 24 hours, no doubt. Scores will be updated as they are completed. So a lot happening this week. Even if you're unable to be in Melbourne for the tournament, you'll certainly be able to take part in the follow the scores, and on Sunday you'll be able to watch all of the final games. So lots happening. All right, Auntie, we're going to take a breath and then we're going to look at the Croatian scene, aren't we? Back in a sec. Where do we start with the Croatian League? Oh, it's always exciting. It's always fun. There's so much going on over there. But before we actually go into that, let's talk about some of the international things that are going on. The futsal. Croatia did have a big win against Cuba in their third game. They also had a big loss against Brazil in their second game. And then it was that narrow 2-1 loss against Thailand in the opener. However, things went well in such a way so that Croatia did qualify for the next stage, the round of 16. And it's this Saturday at 1 a.m. our time. that they will be taking on the might of Argentina. Now, I know Argentina is not as strong in futsal as they are in outdoor soccer, but look, nonetheless, it's definitely going to be a tough game. But everything from here on end, I think, is going to be a tough game for them, aren't it?
Absolutely. Oh, for sure. Once you get up to the upper echelons, and it's a tournament, right? Anything can happen in a one-off match. So let's hope they can get far.
Now, Zlatko Dalic just yesterday announced his team for the next 2 games against Scotland and Poland. So Scotland will be at home in Zagreb on the 12th of October, so coming up very, very shortly. And then against Poland 3 days later in Warsaw. So I guess the big news there is Mislav Orsic, who hasn't really been playing much and hasn't been in super form, but he has been selected, and he makes his a return into the strikers area of the team, I suppose. Apart from that, not really Dominik Prpic from Hajduk, the youngster. Well, how old is he? 17, 18, I think now. He's been selected as a standby player, and he's been having a very, very good season so far.
Great assist for the Livaja's goal against Dinamo. That was a fantastic assist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well done.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting. Ivica Ivušić and Dominik Kotarski are the backup keepers for Livakovic. And apart from that, everything is fairly similar, I think, to the opening 2 games. But as you can see from the ladder there, at the moment, Croatia are in second position. And they basically need to defeat both Poland and Scotland and make sure that they maintain that second spot. And, they want to be outright second, don't they, Ante?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they want to be first, obviously. They want Portugal to keel over and, we have to beat them in their second match that we play against them. But, yeah, absolutely. If we can be in that top 2, that's very successful. And, we should be in the top 2 based on that group.
Yeah, and mind you, that's still that game against Portugal is still to come at home, and I think that game's going to be in Split, I believe, at the Poljud Stadium. So that could be a big decider as far as who's going to take out top spot in this particular group. All right, let's turn our attention now to the Hrvatska Nogometna Liga. Yes, well, we had some amazing results on the weekend. First of all, Rijeka defeated Šibenik. Not a good result for the Šibenčani, but they've had a really, really good season. They've been doing incredibly well, and they've sort of started a little bit in the last few weeks. But Rijeka, they seem to be just accumulating points. They're scoring goals. They're scoring good goals. A 3-0 win over Šibenik, and sees them on equal top with Hajduk, who defeated Gorica 4-1. And the big talking point out of this is the fact that 16-year-old Bruno Durdov scored a double for Hajduk. And, mate, a 16-year-old thrust into that cauldron, and look, he did incredibly well. And mind you, both goals were quite amazing goals as well. Livaja assisting both goals, incredible.
Yeah, age doesn't matter if you've got a level head and, are good enough, So, yeah, well done, Bruno. And hopefully, if he keeps doing it, I'm sure he'll get the call up because we keep looking for that magic striker position, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lokomotiva hosted Osijek. Osijek came away with a 1-0 win. So they've started putting a few wins together in the last 2 games. So they've certainly escaped away from that dreaded relegation zone. Slaven Belupo, well, who would have thought? In Koprivnica, they were the bottom side. They hadn't won a game all season. They come up against the might of Dinamo, and guess what? Smacked them. So Dinamo at the moment are in a really good place. Confidence-wise and off-field turmoil, awaiting whoever is going to be their new coach. There's been all sorts of speculation there. And it just comes on the back of a disastrous start in the Champions League where they got smacked by Bayern Munich. We won't talk about that. We'll just move on. But Slaven Belupo taking full advantage of Dinamo's vulnerability at this moment and managing to etch their first win of the season. Varaždin, another team that's doing incredibly well for a team that's probably got one of the lowest budgets in the HNL. They defeated Istra 1-0, and they slipped very, very silently into fourth position, just behind Dinamo, just 1 point behind Dinamo. So fantastic campaign for them so far. And this weekend, Rijeka hosts Hajduk in the big Jadranski derby. So that's going to be a big game to watch out for in round 8. Prva nogometna liga, Vukovar remained undefeated at the top. They did extremely well on the weekend. They travelled to Zagreb, took on Rudeš at Rudeš's home ground, and came away with a 1-0 win. Opatije also maintained their battle for the top spot with a 2-0 win over Orient. Sesvete drew with Dubrava, which was a little bit unusual. So they dropped a few valuable points there. And Sibalia absolutely destroyed Zrinski OZCRO, who are really, really in the doldrums at the moment. In second last position with only one win from their opening 7 games, but a 5-0 smacking there in Vinkovci. So good on, well done to Sibalia, doing a great job there. We're going to move then now to I think it's the BiH Liga. Let's look at the BiH Liga. Look at that, Ante. We've got, out of the top 3 teams, 2 of them are Croatian teams at the moment.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, we've got Zrinski defeated Željezničar 2-0 in Sarajevo. Big win, that one. Big result, that one. Posuše maintained their winning form with a 3-1 win at home against Radnik. The big news was Borac, last year's reigning champions, lost to Sarajevo 1-0 in Banja Luka. So Sarajevo maintained their unbeaten start to the season. And Zrinski have got a game in hand against Sarajevo, and Sarajevo also have a game in hand. So really, Zrinski have got 2 games in hand. If Zrinski manage to win all their games and their catch-up games, they will actually go on top by virtue of goal difference. At the other end of the table, unfortunately, the bad news is Gošk Gabela continues to really, really struggle at the moment. So that's not good news, unfortunately. But yeah. And what's left? Oh yeah, the Champions League. Well, the Champions League, that's still got a little while to go. That's going to happen Thursday week. At 5 a.m. on October the 3rd, Dinamo Zagreb taking on AS Monaco at home, or Monaco, however you want to talk about that. Not going to be an easy one because Monaco defeated Barcelona 2-1 in the opener. So it's going to be every game in the Champions League is going to be a tough one, aren't you?
Yeah, and you haven't got, the chance to get revenge either because, you only played them once with this new format. So it's hickledy-pickledy, and we've got to wait and see. Hopefully the boys, get back together because we can't afford another 9-2 demolition. Let me tell you, it's too embarrassing.
No, that's for sure. 100% there, 100% right. All right, we're going to take a very short break. When we return, we will be speaking to the grand final triumphant coach of the Newcastle Croatia Football Club, Josh Popescu. He'll be joining us very, very shortly, folks. Don't go away. It's the season finale of the OZCRO Soccer Show. Ante, would you like to do the honours of introducing our next guest?
Absolutely. Let me tell you, people, this is a coach that has managed to promote his team and propel his team to victory after victory after victory, not only this season, but let me tell you, this season he has managed to get the premiership, get the grand final victory. They are promoted. This is the coach of Newcastle Croatia, the victorious coach who is still recovering from his celebrations on the weekend. Please welcome Mr. Joshua Popescu to the show.
Josh.
Hello, guys. How are we?
Good, mate. Good. Welcome back. How are you?
Yeah, good. Finally recovered. It was a big weekend, but feeling good now. Feeling good.
Tell us, how did the game transpire on the weekend, Joshua? Did we lead 2-0? Did we, what went on in the actual match?
All right, so started off really well. We scored in the first opening 3 minutes. Scored a header from one of our defenders. sort of all over him. We kept most possession until the same defender who scored the goal decided to handball the ball in the box. Gave away a penalty, got a red card, so we're down to 10 men. Our goalkeeper saved the penalty, and then we're just under the pump the whole game. It was really, really difficult. They could have secured the game easily. They had that many chances. They just unfortunately couldn't finish, or we've saved, like our goalkeeper saved their shots or start whatever had. And then, yeah, out of nothing, you'll see on the video soon. Out of nothing, Luke Jasewski's balls back to goal. Balls half volleyed it, just bottom left corner, just out of nothing. We ended up winning 2-1 with about 13 minutes to go. Our goalkeeper gets sent off, so we're down to 9 men, and one of the other defenders had to go in goals. And yeah, it was very stressful. It was a very stressful 70-odd minutes. We got the job done.
Somehow you survived it.
Yeah, no, the boys done really well. No, they deserve to win. So
it looks like a great crowd turned up to watch.
I was going to say
the crowd was huge. It was like every Croatian in Newcastle that I can think of was there. So it was really good.
So was it like 70%, towards our team or the opposition? How did it go?
Oh, it was definitely to the opposition. They. Oh, you mean the crowd? Sorry,
the crowd. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely 80% of ours. So the other team's from Foster, so about 2 hours away from Newcastle.
That's right.
Exactly. So yeah, right. Look, there's the goal coming up right now. Back to goal, turns.
Bomber!
Yeah, just made something out of nothing.
That is sensational.
But they're the moments you take. That was good.
Yeah.
Crowd goes wild.
Now, you've obviously had a very, very wet kind of a season up there, a lot of washouts, but this looks like it was played in absolutely fantastic conditions, beautiful, delightfully spring conditions, but obviously with the crowd as well. The atmosphere, that must have been really something that would have got the boys over the line. That's
what helps us week in, week out, is our supporters. Our supporters are very vocal, as every other Croatian, around here is. They just get behind the guys, their chants, just when they're yelling out Newcastle, Croatia, Newcastle, like the guys lift. When you got that support from 200-300 supporters, and you do lift. And I even lift as a coach. It gives you that momentum. And the crowd does help us week in, week out, not just the grand final, but yeah, every week.
Yeah, you definitely got something special building there, Josh. That's really brilliant. And Dennis has come up with a very good question, saying you didn't go home for 3 days. How can you remember the game, Josh?
What do you mean, mate? I was in bed. I was a good boy on the weekend. I was in bed at 11:30 Saturday night, and then.
That's impressive. But obviously, the post-match celebrations as well, they must have been pretty good for the team as well.
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, just all our supporters come back to one of our sponsors, the Young Street. It's just a little pub in Newcastle, and we lit all the streets with red flares. So it was great. But we've come a long way. Club. It's only been around 3 years now. So back in the day. But yeah, no, we've achieved pretty well. I've got all my trophies and stuff behind me.
Oh, there we go.
And they all are there. It's a bit
now we must commend you, Josh, because you're very, very innovative this year. We actually had Coach Cam one day through the year where we actually contacted you as a special guest, and you so happened to be coaching on the sidelines, but it didn't bother you. That was something very innovative. Can we expect any other innovations with Newcastle Croatia next year in Division 1, Zone League Division 1?
Yeah, most definitely. You guys can call me whenever you like. You got me on a good day. You got me on a good day.
Yeah. All jokes aside, I was going to say, with regards to planning now for next year, what happens now? Are you going to take a bit of a break, or has the planning already started for next year?
So, in regards to my squad, I've got a couple guys that I'm keeping an eye on at the moment that I'm going to talk to over the next couple of weeks. But I want to take a bit of a time off. It's been a pretty big year. I know my partner wants to spend some time with me also, so I've got to prioritize her and my son as well. So, but no, I'm gonna take a couple of weeks off. have a chat to a couple more players, and yeah, we'll kick off again in December. We'll do a few Friday nights, but no, we've got a pretty well established team going into next season. I've kept everyone on board, but yeah, I'm looking for two minor premierships in a row and 4 grand finals next year.
Well, that's impressive. That is incredible. And yeah, I mean, and you've also in your Australia Cup journey, you actually defeated a couple of these Div 1 teams as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so we actually were the community plate champions. So community plate is like all of Zone League. So Zone League 1, 2, and 3. We were the highest club that made it the furthest, if that makes sense. So we're actually the community plate champions as well. So we've every box that or everything little obstacle that's been thrown at us this year, we've just ticked everything off. And I am so proud of this club and this group of guys that we have. It's something special. Just before the game, they're just in the sheds and it's electrifying. Like, it's so amazing to be around. Like, the vibe they bring is just, it's so special. And like, honestly, like, it brings tears to my eyes of how proud I am of these guys. Like, they just turn up every week. You know, we had that loss against Stockton. I think it was with about 8 weeks to go. Stockton was 7 points in front of us. And we had a bit of a team talk, and we're like, guys, there's 7 games to go. 7 wins gets us the minor premiership. And we're playing 2 games a week, and we're just ticking off each team as we go. And like that's pretty impressive. That's
awesome. No,
it's great. You know, and then we just went undefeated up until the grand final and just done that job as well. So like, just every week, just every little obstacle gets thrown at us, we just seem to tick it off and we just keep moving forward.
And the club must be proud with the reserves winning as well. So that's a double achievement, right?
It's so good because like during the season you have injuries in first grade, so these reserve grade guys step up, so they play a big role in everything that we do. And it's the same with our third grade side. You know, they play a big part in reserve grade and what they've achieved. So it's a club thing. It's not just like a first grade thing, or it's not just a reserve grade thing. It's just the club altogether, like from head coach to third grade coach, to physios, to committee. It's just everyone. It's just everyone plays a big part in what we've achieved this year, and it's so good, and it's amazing.
You deserve a few weeks off, let me tell you.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Well, according to the comments there, the president there, Dennis Martincic, is saying he's assuming he's still the coach. So hang on a sec, come on.
Did you see that record, Dennis? Come on.
I know. What more does a man have to do to?
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I'm hoping for 2 Chavapi roles next year, not 1.
But maybe he's got someone else in mind. Maybe someone like Sergei Yakirovich. You know, he's now out of a job. You know, who knows? But anyway, look, Josh, you were in Division 3 last year, Division 2 this year. Swept everything before you last year. Swept everything before you this year. How much of a difference in standard are you expecting Division 1 to be?
Probably the top 4 teams is going to be as good as the team we played in the grand final and Stockton. So the rest of them, no disrespect, but their player football and stuff's not as good as that should be. So, you know, you could probably bring a couple teams from our division up into the next one, take over those teams. But yeah, it's like, honestly, like I've said before, I never focus on what other teams can do. Yeah. As long as I know what my guys can do, and I know what my guys can do, I promise you there's no team that can beat us. There's no way. It's our brand of football. Croatia's brand of football in Newcastle is good. And if we stick to that, no one, and I mean no one's going to beat us.
Well, I can't wait for season 2025, and season 2024 is just finished.
Yeah.
I'm like, Ante, what am I going to do over the next couple of months or whatever?
Yeah. Well, it's only 3 months away. We'll start again. So
start all over again. Ante, any last questions for our guest?
I just want to congratulate you, Josh, and I want to let you go back to your partner and your child because, they've been missing you for a couple of months now. So,
it's been a long year.
I apologise on behalf of us because we took you away for a couple of hours as well. So,
we did that. Good on you, Josh. All the best for next year, and enjoy the break.
Thank you, guys.
Well deserved. Unbelievable achievement.
Well, for me and the club, thank you as well. You guys, massive supporters of ours, and we really do, honestly, really, really do appreciate it. So thank you, and I'll talk to you again next year.
That you will. Josh Popescu, the coach. Coach, Well, is he the former coach? Is he the current coach? Is he still on? We don't know. We'll find out from the Newcastle news sources.
President Dennis said Karl Živković in, but I don't know if you noticed Wikipedia. Karl was actually momentarily Sydney United coach. Someone's been having fun on Wikipedia putting all sorts of random names, and Karl Živković was one of those names.
He's a very popular man. Anyway, we're going to take a very short break. When we return, we're going to the nation's capital to talk to another bunch of winners, and grand final winners from Canberra, Croatia. We'll be speaking to their coach, Dean Ugrinic, very, very shortly. Ugrinic, sorry. Don't go away. It is the OZCRO Soccer Show. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Football Out West Show. It is good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you, and thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Good evening, folks, and on that very, very boisterous introduction, welcome to the OZCRO Soccer Show. Good evening, folks, and welcome to yet another episode of Dynamo TV.
Yes, from one championship winning legendary coach, we go to another. And congratulations, we're going to say to the coach of Canberra, Croatia, Dean Ugrinic. Dean, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, fellas.
Can I just ask, we're in injury time, we're down 3-2. What is going through your head?
I never had any doubt that we would get an equaliser and go into some extra time. I had every faith in these guys. Once they got it back to 3-2, with 30 minutes to play, we were knocking on the door, and it was never in doubt for me that we were gonna bring the game into extra time.
Absolutely, and the quality of the game. Like, I was watching the game online, and I was really impressed with the quality. You know, both sides really went at each other, didn't they?
Yeah, look, I didn't think we were so good in the first half, but when we were 3-1 down, we made a few changes, and I thought from about the 70th minute onwards, I thought we were completely dominant, and we certainly raised our game a notch, and I think they struggled to cope, to be honest with you, in that last 20 minutes. But yeah, a very, very entertaining game for everyone that was at the ground, and anyone that watched it on TV or on the stream.
Dean, welcome to the OZCRO Soccer Show, and congratulations. Speaking of entertaining, the whole season as a whole seemed to be really entertaining. I mean, we followed it week in, week out here, but it really sort of seemed to fluctuate. You had a little bit of a kind of a porous start at the start, then you came good, and then really towards the end of the year, you hit your form at the right time. The ACT NPL League, it's sometimes much maligned, and people say, oh, it's only got one or two teams, but it's especially like with the advent of the O'Connor Knights, another Croatian club. It's really started in the last couple of seasons. Really picking up the interest level, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's been a real focus on a number of clubs to bring the standard up. So each year that I found, certainly in the last 3 or 4 years, that it's become more even. So I think we've had different winners of various trophies this year and last year, or over the last couple of years. So you pretty much guaranteed a decent game week in, week out. Whereas I thought, maybe 10 years ago that wasn't the case.
And Dean, it was very easy for you to just walk into the club room. I mean, how good is it having the grand final there at home? And then, obviously the celebrations must have gone on for quite a while, right?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Things wound up about 3 o'clock. I mean, our stadium, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but we've got a really boutique stadium. It generates a lot of a great atmosphere, particularly at night. And our supporters, I think, are just, we're the best in Canberra. It's typical of a Croatian crowd that can bring flares, they bring passion, they bring chance. It's a real European flavour, and with no disrespect to any other club, we're the only club that can bring that. And that was everyone that experienced that on Saturday night really did see a magical event.
Yeah, and being a coach of Canberra, Croatia, Canberra's most successful club, and every time you obviously step out on the field, you're expected to win, you're expected to do well. How much pressure is involved in being the coach of a club like Canberra, Croatia?
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but my assistant coach and I stepped down at the end of last year's grand final. It does exhaust you. So we had won multiple trophies over the course of 3 or 4 years, and similar to your previous guest, you do get fatigued, and I was certainly fatigued. So I'd stepped down, but Andy and I had come back in again after round 5, and I think that that gives you an indication that of the standards. So when the standards at this particular club aren't met, you can be disposed of relatively quickly. And so, there's always an expectation that you bring a trophy to the club. And for me, when you do. I was fatigued, but when you re-energize, you feed off the people that give you the confidence in you to hopefully bring a championship to the club. And I certainly, after I'd recharged my batteries, that's what we were intent on doing. I think we were 6th or 7th in the league at that particular point in time that we'd come back in, and it was just gathering that momentum and reaching those milestones. The first one was reaching top 4, and then towards the end of the season we were battling for the championship, and then of course the top 4 playoff, and now the grand final, and we end up as champions. And that's that's a testimony to not only obviously the players and the committee, but to everyone that's involved at the club.
So you can't go anywhere now. You can't resign now, Dean. So you got to stay. Not this year.
We got another Croatian club in Canberra. It's a wonderful place to be at the moment. It's been very successful. Our under-23s won their championship, their minor premiership, and their grand final. We had grand final winners in our 16s. Our 15s and 14s. It's just been a remarkable season. There's a lot of talent at the club. So I'm hopefully I'm going to be around for a little while longer.
Yeah, and assuming you are going, like our previous guest, assuming you are going to be at the helm of Canberra, Croatia, what are the plans for next season? Do you have a bit of a break, and do you sort of just switch off completely, or does the planning start right now? And what's it like in Canberra? Is the off season quite quiet, or is it quite dynamic, and clubs are already speaking to players, etc., etc.?
It's brutal. I'm not sure what it's like in Sydney and Melbourne, but for us, pretty much as soon as the final whistle of the season has blown, clubs are looking for players. They're players. Because the distances between clubs aren't very far. Everyone, you're pretty much covering Canberra in a 35-minute drive. That's not an issue for players. So you're pretty. Players are and coaches are targeting players, or they're phoning. So it pretty much starts straight away. Despite the fact that our season doesn't start till mid-March, it's quite extraordinary, this particular period. So it's pretty much full on.
There you go. Oh God.
Constantly
Yeah.
planning. It's a 52 weeks a year position, isn't it? And so,
yeah,
yeah,
it's,
go
it's
on. Yeah. And so, that obviously crop of talent you were talking about and success in the youth levels and, winning the under 23 as well. Did you manage to watch that match at all or, tell us a bit about that match as well?
Yeah, so they did extraordinarily well. So that went to penalties. So that the team that they played, so our boys were the minor premiers, and the team that came second, they played off in the semi-final. So that game went to extra times and penalties, and the grand final did as well. So it was a real seesaw match. But so it's an under 23 competition, that second tier, as you know, and but all our boys are under 20. So we're, the talent and that's coming through is putting a fair bit of pressure on a few of our older guys. So yeah. I'm confident that, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've brought, we've liked to think that we could bring 2 or 3 boys from the 23s each year. So we don't necessarily have to go into the market, so to speak. Mm-hmm. We generally try to see if we can get 1 or 2 or 3 boys to come through our system. And, you hope not only do you keep that you want them at the club to stay and develop that same at the club, but there are a couple of players that want to achieve bigger and better things, and we're going to lose a couple of players, young players, next season, but they're going to A-League clubs, which is a testimony to the system that we have in Canberra, Croatia.
Now, either the postseason or pre-season, however you want to look at it, starts this weekend pretty much with the Croatian tournament. Canberra, Croatia are in Division 1 in Group B with Hurstville Zagreb, Strathmore Split, Dandenong City and North Geelong Warriors. What sort of a team can we expect down in Melbourne? Is this the first team or is this a mixture of the firsts and the 23s?
A mixture. It'll be a mixture of predominantly our younger ones, our 23s.
Yeah, so here's an opportunity for a lot of those talented under 23s to really show what they're capable of playing senior football.
And they're really under 20, which is even more remarkable. I mean, that achievement's even more remarkable than being under 20. So that's incredible.
Our coaches were phenomenal. They did a marvelous job, an extraordinary job, I should say. They were fantastic. And not only did they do that, but they also provided players for us, when we have injuries. So, we had 2 or 3 17, 18-year-olds that came into the first team that performed exceptionally well as well. So we're in a remarkable position at the moment. It's been pretty good.
The tournament, could be something where they could be poached to go to Melbourne or to Sydney or one of the other clubs as well, right? That's an opportunity for these young boys as well.
100%. We never stand in the way of players wanting to achieve bigger and better things, and if they feel that they can develop further in an environment such as, say, Sydney United or the Melbourne or in Melbourne in one of the Croatian clubs there, then we're all for it, and we want to encourage that, not only at that level, but obviously the A-League level. But we'd like to think that we can provide those kids, that young talent, with that springboard for bigger and better things at our club, and encourage them to move on.
Brilliant. And Dean, are you coming down? Are you going to be coaching at the tournament?
Yeah. Look, I'll be late. Unfortunately, I can't get there on Thursday. I'll be there on Friday. But that's the plan.
The celebrations will continue. Yeah. The celebrations will continue down in Melbourne.
We'll look forward to celebrating with you and catching up down there as well. So that should be awesome. Dean, once again, congratulations and all the very, very best for the future and for the Croatian soccer tournament this weekend.
Brilliant job.
Thank you. It was a very enjoyable interview. Thank you very much.
Good on you. Pleasure. Thank you.
Hope to catch up with
Dean
you.
Dean Ugdinic, the coach of Canberra, Croatia. We love winners. We love winners on this show, don't we, Auntie?
Oh, yeah. I saw online, the age-old argument again about, first past the post or the grand final. But I don't know. There is something special about a grand final. So
There is. Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be a Sunday. This Sunday is going to be jam-packed with finals from Masters and Veterans, Men's Division 2, Women's and Men's Division 1. All of those games will be streamed live on St Albans Dynamo Facebook page and YouTube channel. So there'll be no doubt lots of action, lots of crowd, lots of colour. Dare I say probably lots of flares. But we're not going to promote that.
I was going to mention as well, in terms of grand finals, went out to Blacktown. The old Blacktown Stadium used to be in the NSL. And Hurstville Zagreb under 16s, actually we
Yes,
spoke
don't forget
before
that.
last week and they ended up winning. So that was absolutely brilliant in extra time. The very last kick of the match before extra time. So congratulations to everyone at Herschel. And it was a huge crowd. I mean, there were more people there than a regular Blacktown City NPL game, let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Have we got that footage there? We'll try and get that footage. I'm sure we've got that footage. We'll try and get that footage in the break. We're going to have another commercial break. When we return, we will be speaking of the tournament, the Australian-Croatian soccer tournament. We will be speaking with the president of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia, Jure Dragovic. He'll be joining us live from Melbourne, and he'll be talking to us about the 50th anniversary of the Savez this year, which will be celebrated on Saturday night at the tournament gala. Don't go away, folks. We're into the finish line, heading towards the finish line, and we're going to wind up the year with the biggest of them all, the president of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia. Don't go away.
Who's to say who's young, who's old? Compared to who? Age is complicated. You see, most people really stop getting older at age 26, but their bodies just don't get the memo. So, hidden inside most over 50-ish-year-olds is the soul and spirit of a 26-year-old, with the same loves and desires and hopes and dreams, just in slightly different packaging. Why waste time wondering when you could be enjoying? It's your life, and life is what you make it. So, what are you waiting for?
Well, we're back on the OZCRO Soccer Show, and it's time for our final guest of the year, Ante.
Yes, how lucky are we? This week it is the big tourney, and we have got none other than the president of the Croatian Association of Australia with us here, Jure Dragovic. Jure, is everything ready? Are we, going to have a big weekend down at St Albans this weekend?
Oh, I certainly hope so, Ante and Torchy. Good evening to you and
good evening, mate. Good evening,
and listeners. Thanks for the big pump up, Torchy. Don't know about that sort of introduction, but no, I mean. Yeah, it's all guns blazing at St Albans at the moment. I've seen some video clips of the pitch being prepared tonight, and it was raining in the clip that I saw, but most of the infrastructure, I know there's a little bit more to be done tomorrow. We'll be heading out to the club tomorrow to check on how everything's going, but speaking to Budo this morning, and hopefully the weather looks after itself, but we're looking forward to the tourney starting on Thursday.
Yeah, bring your bunda from the forecast, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's always like that. Melbourne's weather, you got to bring a bunda even if it's forecast to be 40-degree heat wave. But it's been a big year. It's been a big year in many, many ways. But this Saturday night at the gala at the Footscray Dome, it's the celebration also of the 50th anniversary of 50 years of the Croatian Soccer Association. It's been an illustrious 50 years. It's been an incredible achievement to get to 50 years. But, mate, is there anything very, very special being planned for the gala in that regard?
Listen, we're very conscious of the fact that the tournament is a massive undertaking for the host club. We're certainly going to use the gala platform to do a little bit of a reminiscing of how we've got here as a community and the like. We've got some nice messages that have come in from different countries. Just got off the phone with Ante Kulušić, one of the vice presidents of the HNS, a couple of hours ago. Listen, there isn't a lot of us on the Savez. There's me and two other colleagues, so there's three of us that are officially on board, and we're not. We've all got our lives and the whole lot, so we're not going to go over the top. And in terms of a formal celebration of our 50th. But having said that, there will certainly be elements of the program on the night where we will respectively reflect on how we got here, and that'll all culminate in obviously the announcement of this year's inductees to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, speaking of inductees of the Hall of Fame or life members, it was great news on the weekend. Anita Furjanic was made a life member of Glenorchy Knights. And speaking of the Glenorchy Knights, who can forget Mirko Furjanic, the legend, who was a big part of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia. Sadly, a lot of those have departed us, but now I guess it's also time. It's kind of almost to celebrate what they started, and now we've 50 years later, we've got one of the biggest shows on earth. They stay down in Victoria, aren't it? By the way, I mean, aren't just coming down for the AFL Grand Final. That pales into insignificance compared to the Australian Croatian soccer tournament. Isn't that right, Jure?
Absolutely. Listen, I mean, in all seriousness, you mentioned Anita Furjanic, the daughter of Pokojni Furjanic, who basically, one of the co-founders and probably the primary co-founder of our Savez. But 50 years is a long time, and there is people that have passed. The Hall of Fame is a platform by which we look to recognise those sorts of people. But it's a common thread as well. I mean, Glenorchy is one of our oldest member clubs, and it's fantastic to see that Anita inducted to her club's life membership. I know her children, Pokojni Mirko's grandchildren are playing at the club and what have you, and that's a common thread amongst all our clubs. And so long may it continue.
Yeah, what are the proudest moments that you've had so far as president of the Savez? And what do you what in your mind is a successful tournament?
Oh, listen, it's tough two questions to answer. A successful tournament, listen, if everything falls into place, which it usually does, it's how do you measure success? If you're a player, you're talking about making a final or winning it. But I think overall, it's the get together. It's a celebration. It's an end of season trip for a lot of clubs. But for us as a community, it's coming together to celebrate our Croatian identity and culture, primarily through soccer. But the tournament is, it's on a different level these days to where it was 15, 20 years ago. And that's a reflection of our communities across the board, the soccer clubs, unfortunately, probably are the pillars of our community. So provided that they're still about and some are having a renaissance, so it's fantastic to see Newcastle's success after, being defunct for a period of time. It's a massive. People don't underestimate how important our soccer clubs are to our general Croatian being, and a lot of people identify their Croatianism through their clubs and the national team and the whole lot. And we're into a third, sometimes a fourth generation here in Australia. So it's of vital importance that our clubs continue to survive and prosper.
I know. Talking to Dandenong City's coach during the year, and he was saying that he couldn't believe the scope and the size of what the Croatian soccer tournament was until he went. I think it was last year to Adelaide with Dandenong City. And he goes, it was just amazing. He goes, look, we have these Greek Cups and this and that, but something along the lines of what you Croatians do is just amazing, just incredible. Because I guess it's not just the football, it's the culture, it's the culinary delights on the side, it's the socialisation, it's all of that, but so much more. But it really has grown into a spectacular weekend that you can't even fit it into 2 or 3 days. Now, down in Melbourne, for example, it's been expanded to 4 days.
Listen, people don't appreciate the magnitude of how big it is and the commitment that's required at a resource level, human resource and financial investment by host clubs. So and post-COVID, things have got a lot more expensive, just day-to-day living, let alone running a soccer club. The amount of interaction you need to have with councils, with police, with security, traffic planning, and the whole lot to get this all together is a massive undertaking. And Dinamo have been on top of things, and that's a credit to them. But it's also clubs learn from previous host clubs. So Adelaide have offered, a lot of advice and guidance in terms of last year, as did King Tom prior to that. So it is a massive undertaking, and that's why it's so important that people come out there, they support the tournament, and essentially it's a fantastic opportunity for a host club to make some money. And so, we and listen, there is no Ulaznica, there is, you're going to get 110 games of football for free. There's going to be entertainment for free during the game, and that's why it's so important that those functions that are put on are well attended. And listen, it's the first tourney in Melbourne since COVID, since Dandenong. So we expect and hopefully we expect a big crowd on each of the days, and we get some good weather over the weekend.
And Yurde, one of the first questions anyone asks at a tourney when they arrive is, who's hosting it next year? Have we got any applicants yet, or any sort of things you can lend an ear to for us?
No, I'm sorry, I can't.
Will that be announced on Sunday night or Saturday night?
We hope to. We'll see. And that's a reflection again on how big it is. It takes quite a bit of planning and the whole lot. We're in different levels of discussion, but we'll certainly, the first people that will hear from it will be our members, our member clubs, and the executive committee people. But listen, we are confident that we can continue to hold the tournament. Whether it's to the scope and the size of this current, where we find ourselves currently, that's the challenge for us as a community. And that's why it's imperative that, it is well supported. And certainly this year, we're on smack bang on our average in terms of the last 10 to 12 years of teams participating. As I said, we're going to have, nearly 900 registered players, 49 teams, 110 matches across 7 fields, which will all culminate, we hope, in a massive day on Sunday.
And the only way to be on top of all of those games, all of those scores, is to make sure to download the app, the tournament app, the official tournament app. There it is. It's called the CSA Australia Sarves. Look for that everywhere where that you are able to get your apps. And the fixtures, they have been uploaded, have they? There's the fixtures released from the club.
Yeah, no, the app has been uploaded, and I'd like to give a shout out to Sentia, the company that developed it, primarily Mirko Sindrick, who is a former Sydney United captain, has played for a couple of our clubs in terms of tournaments and what have you, but it's his generous gift to the Sarves. I think we started the app in 2017, so every tournament since then, essentially he's offered his company services to help the host club to utilise that platform, and essentially within 5 minutes of the finish of any one of those 110 games, the results will be loaded and the ladder's updated.
There you go.
Absolutely fantastic app, and Mirko is a great guy as well. So well done to him and his company.
All the action kicking off tomorrow on Thursday at 3 p.m. Across 2 venues there. Obviously, STD stands for St Albans, and GG stands for Green Gully, which is, I think, about 3 or 4 minutes down the road. So it's very, very close proximity. There are shuttle buses happening as well. So lots and lots of action now. Before we let you go, I guess looking ahead to next year, I think the big thing is the tournaments or the clinics that the Croatian Football Federation does each year in January. I think in our contacts with Šime Pinčić from the Melbourne Knights, he mentioned that the Sarves is going to be taking a bit more of a role in that this year. Is that still on the cards for next year in January? And what are the plans for that with regards to the trip to Vukovar?
Yeah, I just got off the phone literally 2 hours ago to Ante Kulisic, as I said, one of the vice presidents of the HNS, and under his portfolio is the links to the diaspora. So he confirmed with me that their flights are booked and what have you. So they'll be coming to Australia in mid-January. We will have a 3 or 4 day clinic in Sydney to start off with, and then they'll come to Melbourne, again with the view of boys and girls between 12 and 16 is the age groups that they're interested in having a look at. Obviously, their main interest is of players of Croatian heritage, and we as the Savas will once again, based on the selection of a squad by the HNS themselves, look to put together a tour with a selection of under 14 boys to again participate at the Vukovar Memorial Tournament, which will be held the week after Easter next year. So that's happening. So we hope we get a good attendance at the camps, and for the third year in a row, we'll send a group over there. I know that Damien was on your program earlier in the year with a summary of how it went this year. It's a fantastic experience, not just from a sporting one, and primarily they're there for their soccer ability, but when we put this together, it was always with a view to it being just as much as a cultural, educational experience as it is a soccer one. And the two groups that have come, and on both occasions we had a nice attend as well. They found the off-pitch element of the tour to Vukovar to be even as inspiring, as memorable, more so than the soccer side of things from a Croatian perspective. So we've got some very good links with the HNS now. We've got some very good links with Grad Vukovar and Vukovar 91, the War Veterans Association there. So we'll again hope to send a squad of boys over. I think it's early April next year.
And it's great to see that sorry, Auntie, you go.
No, I was going to say it's excellent. Plus, we've got Tony Popovic as Australian coach, so we're covered. Yeah. We're covered everywhere.
Well, speaking of coaches, it's great to see that the coach of the inaugural team 2 years ago, Josip Lončarić, has during the week been appointed the director of football at a club that's very close to your heart, Yuda, at the Melbourne Knights. That's a great appointment in our opinion. In your opinion, great to see some of our Australian Croatian coaches taking the next step in their career, yeah?
No, absolutely. I've known Josip, have known him for a while, but travelled with him to Vukovar for the first trip, and certainly he is an up-and-coming coach and does it with a passion. And is very heavily, he's a teacher by background as well. So there's a different slant to the way he puts across his messages and the whole lot. And it doesn't surprise me at all. I know he's had some good success in the last couple of years, most recently with Brunswick Juventus Women. So, but it's always nice to be able to take one of your own and to come back to where he started as a junior. And again, we talk about 50 years of the Savas and our clubs. There's at least 7 or 8 clubs that are older, probably about 10 that are older than the Savas itself, and we continue to produce players and it looks like now that generation from 10 or 15 years ago is moving into coaching, and it's fantastic from Popper's perspective to land the national gig. Everyone knows how the strong affiliation Popper has with the Croatian community and Sydney United in particular. So there's some of us, these ex-players now in the media taking on coaching, we wish them all the best, and I'm sure that we'll follow their progress wherever we are based in Australia.
Yeah, the influence of the Australian Croatian football, clubs, and all the volunteers involved, all the coaches. I mean, it's so impressive. Like what the tournament has achieved. I mean, some of these players, their first actual senior football was playing at the tourney, and I remember seeing Mark Bosnich back in 1987, and saving against Francis Waratifi, and all those sorts of Melbourne Knights big shots. It was just amazing to see, and And when I spoke to him a couple of years back, again, he fondly remembered that as one of his most impressive goalkeeping achievements, and that was at the tourney way back then.
Well, in terms of Popper, the tourney is very close to his heart. The fantastic production Football Belongs that David Davudovic put together that coincided with the Dandenong tournament in 2019. Popper featured in that grab on the Croatian community, and he identified that he actually met his wife at a tournament because he had to escort her out. She was a Miss Croatia contestant for Miss Sydney at the time. So
she was.
We need to bring back the Miss Croatia.
I've got to say, I've emceed numerous couples from Sydney and married a person because they met at the tourney and vice versa. So when we mention the cultural experience, it sure is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yuda, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on the show. Wish you all the best for this weekend. Hopefully it's going to be a very, very successful tournament. We'll see you down there in Melbourne, and all the very, very best for the future of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia.
Yeah, thanks. Just before I sign off, like to, and they'll be recognised on the club achievements portion of the night, but a shout out to those member clubs that have had a fantastic year at a senior level. So, Gold Coast Knights men for winning the league, unfortunately not the grand final, for their women for winning absolutely everything on offer up there. Canberra, Croatia, another grand final championship for them. Newcastle seniors and reserves, you had the coach on previously. And we can't, and also a shout out to Glenorchy Knights, both league and cup winners, O'Connor and Glenorchy for making the round of 32. And it's fantastic to see the re-emergence at both the senior men's and women's level of Brisbane, Croatia. So those achievements, as well as many others in junior teams and other senior teams across our Sarvis clubs, will all be formally recognised and celebrated at the gala on Saturday.
That's amazing. Yeah. When you look back at that it really shows it was such a big year. But for me personally, it was just seeing, I think, bar Northern New South Wales and maybe Northern Territory, every state in Australia had one Croatian community-backed club in the NPL competition. And to me, that was just quite incredible from, every state basically. So that was a huge success, I think, on the Australian Croatian football scene. Yeah, so well done to everyone involved.
Absolutely. And yes,
no problem. Thank you again for the opportunity. Ante and Taunchi, congratulations on this year's production. Hopefully everything works out again, that we have you on our airwaves next year. But in closing, everyone in the Croatian community here in Victoria, so from Geelong to Dandenong and anywhere in between, head out to St Albans over the course of the 4 days, Thursday to Sunday, and let's make this tournament a very memorable one. And I'm sure that we'll get a big turnout on the final on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Jure. Bye-bye.
Enjoy.
Jure Dragovic, the president of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia, affectionately known as the Sarvis. Folks, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to wrap up season 2024. And that's it, Ante. Thank you very much. And it has been a big year, 25 episodes. And once again, we could not have done it without Living Gems and Gem Life. Adrian Pulic, he's heading down to Melbourne this weekend, so we certainly hope to catch up with him. That's for sure at the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament. All roads lead to Churchill Reserve this weekend, and Anta's going to be there for a couple of days. I'll be there for a couple of days, including the final day. So do pop up and say hello, because we really, really appreciate all of the well wishes, all of the thank yous in the chats as well. There's been some really nice words. And sometimes it's hard to kind of really know if we are making a difference in people's lives, so to speak, Ante. But when people do say, "Yeah, I love watching the show," and it's keeping us informed of all these little clubs that otherwise we wouldn't know. It certainly warms the cockles of my heart. And I'm sure
and every single person, whether it be tonight's show or throughout the whole season, who agreed to come on as well.
Yes,
thank you so much, because sometimes obviously we've got to work within their time frame, work within our time frame. So it is a massive undertaking, but we really appreciate everyone's support, all the viewership, and the people that agree to come on. So really appreciate that.
On that note, thank you very much for being with us this year. We look forward to, we hope, fingers crossed, we need sponsors for next year, but we certainly hope to be back for season 4 in 2025. Good night, folks.
Laco noite.
Laco noite.